Hello, this video is part of the online tutorial for the Braid Society on the Sami weaving tradition. The Braid Society publishes this lovely magazine once a year, and in the latest magazine there is an article by myself about the Sami weaving tradition, which gives lots of background information and lots of additional patterns for people to weave. In this video I will be talking about using this heddle, which has 2 rows of holes and some string heddles. The sorts of bands that can be woven with this heddle I have here. Here are some of the samples that I did for the course. As you can see, they have additional supplementary warp. In this band it's in red, which go over 3 picks and under 3 picks. And this band, which I think is my favourite because the design is so dramatic, again the red supplementary warp ends go over 3 picks and under 3 picks, and ideally the pattern should be the same on the back as it is on the front, although that does take a little bit of skill to achieve. This third band is the one that I will be showing you how to weave in this video. There are 6 blue threads which make up the supplementary warp, and they go over 3 picks and under 3 picks. So I will now show you the weaving process using this type of double-holed heddle. Right, this heddle has these additional holes through which the supplementary warp ends are threaded. There they are, the 6 threads that float on the top or underneath the main part of the band. The rest of the band warp ends are threaded alternately through a long slot and a hole across the width of the heddle. As you can see, in order to manipulate the supplementary warp ends, I have added some string heddles which can be used to pull the supplementary warp down so that it appears underneath the band. So I will show you now how this weaving process takes place. But first of all, let's look at the woven end of the band. Right, well, here's the woven end of the band. First of all, here's my little band width checker, so that I know that the band doesn't start to get any wider or narrower as I'm weaving. And you can see that the blue warp ends have been on top of the band for 3 picks. So the next 3 picks that I do, we want these blue warp ends to be underneath the band, to appear on the reverse side. And this is how we achieve it. For the first pick, I need to raise the heddle. As you can see, when I do that, the blue warp ends stay on top. We want them underneath, so I put my fingers through the shed, and then I can brace the supplementary warp and pull it down, put my thumb through, and there is the shed that I need to put the shuttle through. So there's the first pick. Now the second pick, I have to lower the heddle. Now for this pick, of course, with the blue threads being in the second row of holes, they are across the centre of the shed. So all I need to do to make sure that they are underneath is to put the shuttle through underneath the top layer but above the blue layer. So that's the next pick. So beat, adjust the weft so it's the same thickness, the same width as before, and pull the weft through. And the next pick is again raising the heddle pick. So I raise the heddle, put my fingers into the shed so that I can brace them and pull down these supplementary warp threads, put my thumb through and there is the shed that I need for this pick. So put the shuttle in, beat and adjust the weft. Now if we look at the woven end of the band, you can see that the blue warp ends are now underneath and I have this nice little pattern on top. So I now want to bring them back up again. Well, of course that's quite easy. The next pick I have to lower the heddle, and as you can see we've got a layer, the top layer of the warp, the centre layer of the supplementary warp and the bottom layer. So this time I need to put my shuttle underneath that blue layer, and that means that it will be brought up to the top of the band. So beat, adjust weft and take the shuttle through. Now if we just have a look at the woven end of the band, you will see you can't actually see the blue ends on top at the moment. Don't worry, that's perfectly all right. So we pull the weft through, leave a small loop. Now we raise the heddle, we want them on top, and they are of course on top, but in order to make sure that the weaving edge of the pattern looks neat, take your shuttle down very, very gently and just ease them into place, and then you can put your shuttle through the shed, beat, adjust the weft so it's the right width for the band and pull it through. And now the final pick, it's another lowering the heddle, so that's fairly easy. You put the shuttle underneath the supplementary warp ends, beat, adjust the width of the band and pull the shuttle through. And there it is, your 6 weaving picks. And it's much quicker to do than I have obviously illustrated in slow motion for you here. But this band can also be woven with a different sort of heddle, one that has a single row of holes. Right, so here's my heddle. Here's one I prepared earlier, and you can see that it has a single row of holes with exactly the same warp, threaded in exactly the same way. But because there's only a single row of holes, the additional supplementary threads have to go over the top of the heddle. This was probably the older method of weaving these type of bands. The double holed heddle came later. Now the weaving sequence is almost identical to the one that I've just shown you, only one pick is different. When we want the supplementary warp ends to be underneath the band, when we raise the heddle, then we put our fingers through in exactly the same way as we did on the previous band. But of course lowering the heddle doesn't bring the supplementary warp threads underneath, and we need to pull them down. So we use the string heddles, we pull them down and put our hands through, and there is the shed. So that's the only pick that's different in this particular for this particular heddle. So here are 2 ways of weaving the same type of band. I do hope you've enjoyed the online tutorial, and I hope that my video has made the weaving sequence a little clearer for you.